Hello, Smite fans, and welcome to episode 10 of the Gank Right Lane podcast. Double digits, baby! Talking about week
Double
three
digits.
of
Happy
the.
birthday.
Yeah, happy birthday. We're talking about week three of the SPL season. We're giving our power rankings for it, and then we're going to give our week four predictions. How are you doing today, John?
Good, man. How you been?
Been alright.
You been there? You been watching any Smite recently?
I
I
have.
hope
I paid
so.
quite attention and paid quite a bit of attention this weekend, more so than I normally do, because it was fucking insane.
It was.
Every game felt like an upset.
I mean, you just couldn't predict anything that was happening this week. I don't feel like.
I
Well,
mean, you say that.
let me.
I predicted the Hounds beating the Leviathans and
Okay,
Ferryman.
you have the Hounds. So what do we have here?
And I have
I
the
mean, no one
Warriors.
guessed the King. No one guessed the Kings Glads game.
Yeah.
No one guessed that. What else? Yeah, you had the Hounds. You had the
No!
Hounds. The Dragons did. We both have the.
Dragons were bad. And they were supposed to
I
be
had
good.
the ferryman beating the dragons.
Did you
One
actually?
time. Yeah.
Crazy.
Yep.
I think
That,
that
that
was
was
more
a,
of a hope than you actually believing it, though, because you
that
needed
was definitely a
Cyclone
hope.
Spin and Paul to do well. They fucking
Definitely a
did,
hope.
so.
It worked out for me, man. What can I say? Uh yeah. It was a fun, exciting week of
That game
Smite.
pissed me off
I
so
didn't
much.
get to
The
watch
Ferrymen
anything
beat the
live.
Dragons.
Yeah, man.
I was planning. I was gonna put. John knows about this. I was gonna put the Ferrymen at 8 if they lost to the Dragons, even though they should be above the Glads. But I was gonna do it out of fucking protest because there's no way a team that has Paul on it should be this bad. So I was just gonna say, if you have one of the best my players of all time and you're one of the worst teams in the league, well, fuck you.
You're just number 8.
Yeah, and then they beat the
What?
Dragons. Like, don't get to do that anymore.
Guess what? Who's number 8 now? Dragons? Maybe.
We'll get there. Little teaser for you.
Okay, well, I guess we can hop right into this if you want to. But
Sure.
a lot. Well, I've noticed from watching the Ferrymen this week. So they lost the Hounds and they beat the Dragons. But
Turns out
a
hounds are
lot of
good.
it is, I mean, Ferrymen were beating them for most of these games. Paul died one time. So Paul's kicking their ass, right? I think his game one,
Yeah, it's
he's on
Paul.
Vulcan. He was like 5-0 at this point, 6-0 maybe. And Ferrymen are in the driver's seat. They full dive him, use everything. I'm pretty sure Oath had like a really sick engage on him and killed him one time. And now all of a sudden the Hounds are in control of this game. But the Ferrymen are still defending, They're doing fine. Paul dies a second time, game ends instantly. It's all the Ferrymen's do are play around. And they're letting him carry. They're trying, but it's just not a team without him. And I feel like to have any long-term success, they're going to need one of their other damages to step up a little more.
I mean, they did against the Dragons.
Yeah,
That's why they won.
Yeah, that's what Cyclone did against the Dragons.
Sino
But
honestly
we haven't
played
seen
pretty
that
well
any
as
other
well,
set.
but yeah.
Yeah, dude, he looks like an SPL player now. This week he looked like an SPL player. He was playing Assassins.
Yeah.
And guess what? They got to win. So crazy how that works out. Who else is on that team? Baskin, Roar. Roar didn't play out puck this week, so he looked a lot better.
Yeah.
But did you watch any Fairman games?
I don't think so. I worked for a lot of the weekend, so I just caught what I could.
Yeah, you can never get them all. But yeah, it was the Hounds Ferryman set was a good one to watch. Let me.
Fun fact: Hounds are one of only 2 undefeated teams in May as of right now.
Who? Warriors Hounds.
Yep.
I hope the Hounds. I've been making my predictions based on my fantasy teams, and I've been being more hopeful. But man, I love watching the Hounds.
I think the Hounds
It's
are
like
actually pretty good.
I hope so. I mean,
I want to say they don't have any star power, but that's not even true. Coast is a
I think
superstar.
Coast is going to become a star. Oath is coming into that, and I think those are their two guys that are going to run their games. Quig is underrated. I feel like that guy is goated.
Yeah. He's a fucking ward machine as well.
Yeah. Is he really? Let's see.
He has 31 wards per game.
Dude, okay, wait. Time out. Game 2, Ferryman Hounds. How many wards does Quig have? Take a guess.
Here's
Take
the
a
thing,
guess.
I saw it on Reddit, but I don't remember. It was something like 39 or something.
It is way more than 39.
52.
Exactly. Did you just guess that? There's no way you just guessed that.
I guessed it.
There's no way.
Here's the thing. It's the number that came into my brain, and like I said, I think I saw it on Reddit, so I probably just remembered it, but it's not like I was sure.
Right. That's incredible, actually. Yes, it's 50. He placed 52 wards in. Wait, okay, I'm going back here.
52 wards in 48 minutes.
48-minute game. He plays
Minikyu
53
plays 16.
He plays 53 game 1. Is this where he's getting all his points from? I've noticed he's had a lot of points, but I thought he was just playing well. Maybe he's just placing a lot of wards.
Minikyu's actually been placing a decent amount of wards, it looks like.
You know who I noticed
a decent amount against the Ferryman. How do you do?
His old brother, Pagon, has not been. Do we know if they're actually brothers? Is this
I don't know. I feel like I've definitely heard that. But
I've heard they are, and I've also heard they aren't. So
they're brothers in like a spiritual sense.
Okay, I can see that. If we were both in the SPL, would you want to be on the same team or different teams?
I would want to be on different teams.
Same. I'm ganking the shit out of you on cooldown. Promise.
Of course you are. The thing is I feel like being in that competitive of an environment, like that, I don't know if it would ruin our friendship, but that's the type of thing that ruins friendships, you know?
Oh yeah, I think we could be competitive with each other.
Like, I don't want to be on a team with people I like. I want to be on a team with people I hate.
On a team with people? Oh, that kind. So you're talking about like playing on the same team is going to ruin friendships.
Yeah. Not playing against each other.
Yeah, I can see that. That'd be stressful for sure.
Yeah.
But if you're winning, I guess that's.
If you're winning, it'd be great. Let's be honest. If we were in the SPL, we wouldn't be winning.
We would be. What's worse than the Gladiators? The Valkyries of the past?
Yeah.
Probably.
I don't know. Looking at their numbers, I'm not so sure.
Okay, season set. Wait, what is it? It's season 10. So season 8, Valkyries were pretty bad. They were pretty bad.
Yeah. So, okay. The Scarabs in Phase 9 of season last year, Phase 3 of season 9, had a negative 109 kill differential. The Gladiators have a negative 84. Without Stu, they have negative 100.
Yeah.
And the Scarabs kill differential was over the course of 7 weeks of play. The Gladiators have that over 3 weeks.
Yeah, they're not the greatest.
No, they're pretty bad.
Honestly, too, I will say if it was anyone, okay, here's this. if it was Dude Man Bro back there. Okay, Stewart at least plays very safe. You know, sometimes that's bad for him, but that doesn't matter. He's just not dying in this sense for the kill
If it was
difference.
Dude Man Bro, they would already have like negative 200.
Yeah, it would be
I would feel so bad for
much
Kirmi.
greater.
Kirmi could be the best jungle of all time, and it wouldn't matter if they had Dude Man Bro over Stu.
Yeah, that would be hard for them to win games. So I'm glad it ended up working out how it did.
They
so
just play in such a stupid way. They play like the Warriors, but playing like the Warriors only works if you're more talented than the other team, and they're the least talented team in the league by a mile.
Okay. Well, that's what they did to. They were out warrioring the Warriors game 1 of this week's set. They really were. They were running it down at them. In like 15 minutes, it was 3-13 or something. Gladiators. But then they lost. They coin flipped a fire giant, lost it, and then.
That's the difference, though, is the Warriors wouldn't have lost that fire giant.
Well,
I think
the big difference is the Warriors can play a late game as well. The Gladiators don't have a late game.
I feel like the Gladiators need to try to play more crafty instead of like this run it down style that they're doing. Because I mean, think about how they beat the Wargs, right? They let the game go on for a while. They gathered up a bunch of bombs. They won one fight, and then they blew up everything with their bombs.
That was an awful set, just in general. Yeah, I mean,
but like they didn't win by just running it down at them. They waited until it was advantageous for them to run it down, and then did it. The Gladiators right now feel like they just want to run it down no matter what situation it is.
Well, you know how your worst teams kind of get their wins are, you know, if you can get ahead in early, you can carry that far enough in late. Because what separates the good teams and the bad teams are really your team fights, you know, your ability to group up, your ability to fight together, which the Gladiators just don't have together yet, you know. They're not really sure on calls and all that. And so I can see what they're getting at because, you know, you brought up the bombs. And I'm sure, you know, it's a great idea to just stack a bunch of bombs. But teams aren't going to let you just have pyromancers, you know?
Yeah, I know. But I think they need to just try to be more tricky. They're not tricky enough.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh, did you see the play? Oh, wait, you said you didn't watch the Hounds Ferryman set. You didn't watch that, did you?
I don't believe I did, no.
Quig was on Horus. He placed a sentry ward, so he knew there were no wards like around him, stood on top of it. Horus ulted. And so, you know, the ferryman could see the Horus in the air, but they have no idea who's like in that circle coming with them. He steps up, acts like he's about to Horus ult into the Titan to end. He drops it. He's the only one on it. All the others turn the corner on left Phoenix. And he got it for absolutely free. He just faked him out, man.
See,
like stuff plays like that.
That's what the Glads be trying to do.
Play. Yeah, exactly. Just mind games.
Yeah.
Just non-conventional.
Yeah. High risk. I just remembered, by the way, I watched the very beginning of a Hounds Ferryman before I went to work. I saw the first 2 kills, which were like 20 minutes in, and they were both on Cyclone Spin. Which made me very happy. I was very happy when I saw that. That was the latest first blood ever. I believe it. Because I didn't watch the whole like beginning. I went and got ready for work and then came back. And it was like 15 minutes in and there were no kills. And I was like, what the fuck?
It was 20 minutes and some change. I think the one before was like 1953. So barely beat it, but beat it nonetheless.
No, because I remember the first blood. Because Coast just like 1v1 Cyclone Spin down to 1, and Cyclone Spin barely got away. And then Oath was just like, that's the worst.
Yeah. I think I'm looking at, okay, so he was on the Rama and the man. Yeah, I'm pretty sure Coast also just 1v1 Cyclone without ulting on Rama. All auto attacks. Or base Cadex.
Coast is a beast.
He's so good. And he's on ping, too. He's still in Europe, I would imagine.
Probably. He
He's
looks
still
Dutch as fuck.
Dutch?
Yeah, that's what he looks like to me in his little picture that they have for the thing. He looks Dutch as shit.
I feel like this will tell us, right? Teams. Will this tell us? No. Okay.
Maybe I can find out on Twitter. Hold on.
He is the carry. Fun fact. ADC for Hounds. No, he's not helping us at all. But he also... I really enjoy Vapor's Coast's Twitter. His tweets.
That's pretty good.
We'll check that out if you haven't seen him. Okay, where are we at here? Also, it's telling me that Vapor's Coast is on the... because he was on the Ravens coming into the...
Smite.
I get it.
Sports Wiki. The picture for Vapor's Coast on the Smite Esports Wiki, I don't think it's been updated in a while. It's just a fucking child.
Like
That's a picture of a child. That man
he was
12 years old.
He was playing on controller at like 14 and 15, I think. He's playing professional controller.
He's from the UK, it looks like. He also does kind of look like from the UK.
Yeah.
He had to either be Dutch or from the UK.
I didn't want to say it, but that's what I was thinking. Yeah. Did you watch the Leviathan Sounds game?
I think I watched at least one of them or two of them or something.
Okay. That was.
I remember watching the Leviathans. Yeah, because I remember every kill, I was like, Shinto or fine, okay, please get the kill. And it was always adapting. And I was like, fuck!
You can just not catch a break here.
Yeah.
Was this the one where... Hell, Rama...
Yeah. Also, I literally, every fight, I was like, alright, Shinto, fine, okay? Each of you get 2 kills. Lasbra, Penta the whole Leviathans.
Right?
And then they didn't even have a Penta combined between the 3 of them, so...
he played Sunwoo against the Hounds. I remember that now. I'm not picking that, personally, but... Fine OK has been whipping out the interesting solo picks. I think he's the most diverse solo picks I've seen ever since SOT in the beginning of the phase.
I don't remember who said it, but it was probably Fine OK. But he was playing Sunwoo, and he was just like, this ult sucks ass.
Yeah. Yeah, I
like,
just watched
no
the Fine OK
damage.
video. It was like 2 days before that. I watched a Fine OK video and he's shit talking Sun Wukong, and then 2 days later he pulls it out in the SPL.
I mean, to be fair, he did really well in that game.
He did. I can't lie. You have to think, could he have done better on a different pick?
Well, I meant in the one he was shitting on it in.
Oh,
because he was playing it. He was playing it at the beginning. He was like, "Man, Sunwoo sucks." And then, like, through the game, he was like, hold on, Sunwoo's actually kind of goated?
That's also... I feel like there's a difference between a ranked game and a...
Oh, for sure.
A little bit. Did you watch any Ravens games?
No. They got a bit shit on all week, though.
Yeah, I had them at 3, I think. 3 or 4, maybe.
Which is fair. Honestly,
fair.
They still are.
See, and you say that, which I can see, but they looked really bad against these 2 teams.
That is their thing. They are better by far than the teams worse than them. They're going to beat the teams worse than them. They're going to lose really bad to the teams better than them. That's their play style. They don't do well when they're the less talented team. So you're going to have to rely on, when tournament time comes, rely on a team like the Gladiators to take out the top teams so that they can beat them? Pretty much. It's not good for winning tournaments, but that's what they are.
Right. Which, yeah, I mean, I just had some serious doubts almost because it was. I mean, you would have thought take the labels, take the names off. You would have thought it was a top team playing a 7 or 8. You know, they looked
I mean, to
rough.
be honest, the gap between the Kings and Warriors is pretty much like every other team might as well be a 7 or 8 team. There's a massive gap there.
Yeah, I agree. There's a big gap. I don't know about that big, but yeah, there's definitely one.
There was a clear
That's
top
why
two,
I
especially after the Dragons horrible week.
cannot wait for a Kings Warriors game on Sunday. You're gonna make me wait till the last. Oh, and that's Mother's Day too. Okay, that's the first game, so I'll be able to catch that one. But yeah, that'll really decide the top team. Even more so than it is now. Oh no. My mom's calling me. Speaking of Mother's Day, that's weird.
Yeah.
She can wait.
Alrighty.
What else we got here for these?
Speaking of Kings, let's see. Looking through their games, they're the best team. They're really good, and they lost to the Glads. What the fuck? I can't keep doing the bit where we just don't talk about their games because they're too good because they fucking lost to the worst team in the league.
That's
It was wild.
okay. So I will say, it wasn't. The Gladiators did not beat the Kings. The Kings lost to the Gladiators. If that makes sense. The Kings beat themselves, is what I'm saying. Hazer put out a demo review of game 2. And I mean, they made like 4 back-to-back mistakes. I mean, they made 4 mistakes in like 2 minutes.
Right.
And just completely threw everything they had out the window. They were just impatient. And the Gladiators, I will say, played very well to be able to what am I looking for here? To take charge in that situation.
Yeah, to let them beat themselves.
Yeah, they capitalized on the opportunity the Kings gave them. And so I think the Gladiators looked a lot better this week in both of their games, despite playing the top 2 teams, than they have in any week before.
Yeah, they stopped being as much Gladiators as they were, really.
Yeah. But Kings also just tossed.
Yes.
Oh.
I mean, that's one of those losses where, like, a lot of teams would let it get under their skin. Clearly not the Kings, because they went and just stomped on the Ravens' balls the next day.
Yeah, they weren't happy about that one.
No, they were not.
No, they really didn't, man. The Raven and Scream keeps playing Erlang. Why? Why is anyone playing Erlang? Take him out of the game at this point. I don't think anyone. He also Scream just looked like ass this week. I'll be honest.
Yeah.
Pains me to say it, but you know what? There were weeks where he was on the scares when he first came back in the league last season. You know, he would have a week where he'd go bad, and then the rest of the weeks he just turns it on. So hopefully we see that. Hopefully, I'm hoping we see that. I don't know about you.
Yeah. I mean, I know why you're hoping we see it, and so I am thus hoping we do not see it.
That's why I figured it was going to turn out like that.
No, the Glads looked really good. Stewart played a little bit more into the Glads play style, and the Glads played a little bit more into Stewart's play style, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I just think they played better. I mean,
they did as well, but that's part of the reason why.
Yeah, Scary
their play style the past
awful.
2 weeks before this one was just to play bad.
Right. So yeah, I guess if playing good is playing towards Stewart's style, then that's what they did.
I mean, just take less stupid fights, right?
Yeah.
I mean, Stewart played pretty bad week 2, but week 1, he was getting a lot of shit for not taking the stupid fights with his team, but like they were bad fights to be taking. His team shouldn't have been
All right.
taking them. I can't blame him too much for not taking a stupid fight.
Yeah, that's fair. I I mean, we're seeing a lot of better. Like Snoopy looked like he had hands this week, I
I
guess.
know, it's crazy.
I don't know why he didn't just look like this before. He was like 5-0 at one point in against the Warriors, I think. Um, Still getting out farmed by Pagon, but anyway, it didn't
4-0
matter.
would have been the best he could have done against the Warriors.
No, it was. He was 4-0 and 5 might have been what it was. Um, but yeah, him and Scary D stepped it up, and you could tell. And their first win. And do you have much more on these past week's games? Because
I don't think we've talked enough about how bad the Dragons were, to be
the
honest.
Dragons, yeah, that's my only one I got left. Yeah. They did rough. Oh yeah, we definitely need to talk about that. Oh,
so here's the thing to me that I am seeing.
Okay.
It's a lot of shit is being given to the old Warriors core. That's the main part of this team, right? Dardez, Nika, Vogt. In my opinion, those have been the best three players on that team.
Really?
The worst players, so especially in their losses, PBM and Lasbra were bad this week.
Yeah.
They were bad.
You can't.
Those are supposed to be the best two players on this team, and they were this week especially. They were definitely the worst.
Yeah, I don't know what happened to Lazaro because the last 2 weeks I would have said he's maybe the best jungler in the league. I know I was even texting you. He was playing just out of his mind. I would have called him a top 10 player. But then after this week, stocks sunk.
Yeah, I mean, it's looking at his stats after this week, he is bottom 5 in jungle kills and top 5 or top 4 in jungle deaths. He's bottom half in both.
If you say that about the jungles though in kills, the junglers are still he's still what 6th overall in kills.
Yeah, but that's just because jungle is the role that gets a lot of kills.
Yeah.
Like I wouldn't give him too much credit,
Yeah, it is a very jungle focused meta right now, which is why whenever he's playing poorly, the dragons aren't going to perform well either. I think, yeah, the old Oni core is kind of there to coast. I think the games are going to have to be decided based on PBM and Lasbra. And they both played bad this week, and so they lost both their games.
PBM
I also don't think the
play
meta
a more traditional frontline support.
Yes, exactly. That's exactly what I was just about to say. But that's not what the meta is right now, though. That's his problem. He could be picking was Yemoja getting banned out a lot? I kind of just skipped all of the pick bans. No, she was getting like second phase banned in this. Didn't get banned at all here. Yeah, so I don't know where she's been at. He can play some Yemoja. Even like Terra was all over the place this weekend. Put him on her. I would much rather see that than him on Hell.
He's been one of the worst Hell players in the league, which is supposed to be a player God he's good at.
Right, he's supposed to be the best Hell support, but couldn't tell. You wouldn't be able to tell.
He played a fucking game as ESET this weekend.
It wasn't the game he won too.
It was. What the fuck?
Yeah, I was gonna say he did look good on ESET.
But like, it don't make sense.
I don't know, man. Yeah, just I think once meta switches up, and not only for the Dragons but for every team, things will change around. I think meta change is going to heavily affect the Warriors as well. You know, I'm sure they'll be fine.
Yes.
But everything that within the meta right now fits perfectly to their players' play styles. I feel like.
Yes.
So
I mean, yeah. The
I
thing
mean,
is though
besides
is that pushing buttons good is
universal.
always gonna be a
Yeah.
good attribute to have. So
Right. Yeah. No, I don't see them ever being below a top 4 team. Even that's a stretch. Even for them to drop that low.
right. Yeah. No, it's pretty much the meta shifting is pretty much going to decide if they're above or below the Kings. That's probably about it, unless somebody else
Yeah,
really
that
picks.
I can see that. Also, Kings were extremely dominant last year, and I heard like an interview with Genetics. He was like, there was more stuff to do on the map last year. There was more camps, there was cups, obelisks, stuff like that. And the Kings play the map so much better than everyone else that when you put more stuff on it, they just outdo everyone to an extreme
Right.
amount. But since they took a lot of that stuff off, that skill gap was decreased, which is good to change things up.
It's not good for
But
the
that's
Kings
where
play style
right playing the map is where they're getting their wins off of. No one else can do it better.
I think we've about covered everything.
Yeah.
You want to do
Okay.
the power rankings or do you want to do the MVP thing?
I've been waiting for the MVP thing for a while. If you want
All
to
right.
run us down on what we're
So
doing here.
let's explain this first.
Yep.
So there's a Smite blogger who is a friend of John's.
Not no. I
No,
have
not
no
a friend
idea
of
who this
yours.
is. No.
I thought you said she was a friend of
No.
yours.
No,
You
I've
know
read
her.
her stuff.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I read her stuff and I recommended her stuff to you.
Okay.
Different. Maybe someday.
Maybe someday.
Put me on the spot. Okay, sorry, continue.
Anyways, it's called the Long Lane. If
Mhm.
you're on Smite Pro League Reddit, you've probably seen a lot of her stuff.
Yes.
She released she's doing her own MVP this year, and she released the MVP tracker starting in week 4 here.
It's a regular season MVP.
Yes,
Yep.
and it's for the
Well,
whole season, not just the phase.
yeah.
And so John already knows who is 10-1 in this. I told him 10, and he saw 1 on accident. So 1 is Awesome Jake,
Mm-hmm.
and 10
So
is
far,
Stewart. So John's gonna try to guess the other 8.
so based on her statistical and personal rankings,
Yes.
it was so far leading the MVP race this year.
Yes.
I'm trying to guess number
You said you
2.
might be trying to do it in order, or
See, I feel like that would be so incredibly. I need you to tell me one thing before we start.
okay.
How many of the Warriors besides Jake are on the rest of this list? Is it 2 or 3?
Uh, I can't say. I cannot say.
Does that mean that's 4 then?
I cannot say. That's all.
It's gonna be all of them. Okay. Okay. So I'll go with my. I think I have an easy 3.
Alrighty.
Or I think I have the.
Are you going for order or?
Okay, yeah. Let me give you the top 3. So we have Jake
Yep.
adapting,
No.
not in the top 3.
Not in the top 3.
Is he in the top 10?
Nope. Which
Adapting's
is
not
fucking wild.
adapting's not in the top 10.
I just noticed that as well. That's wild.
What in the world? Okay.
Yeah.
Um
Look, I'm a big Stewart supporter. Captain should probably be 10 if Stewart's on the list.
yeah, that's wild. Okay, well that threw everything I was thinking out the window. So I'm going Yarkor too.
Yep. Yarkor's 2.
Is he actually too?
He is number 2.
Okay, I figured. Yeah, I had adapting 3, man. So give me big man.
Big Man is not number 3. He is in the top 10. I'm not going to tell you where.
Okay.
But
Okay,
he's
so
somewhere
he's
between 9 and 4.
right. Okay. So big man's in there. Are you putting? He's not gonna be 3. Is SOT number 3?
SOT is not number 3.
Is
He
he
is
top
in the
10?
top 10.
Okay. Figure. So that leaves me with. I know she's a big on the Ravens. There's no way you have Veneno top 3 though. Give me Netrioid.
Netroid is in the top 10, but he is not number 3.
Goodness. Um. Oh, Panatom. Where's he at?
It is Panatom. Panatom's number
It
3.
is Panatom. I forgot him on my little list. Okay. So then it's BMT.
It is then BMT.
Okay. Yep. Um. Then I would assume SOT is above Netrioid. So I'm gonna go SOT 5.
SOT is not 5.
Okay. Where is he then? You just give him to me.
He is number 6.
Okay. And so Netrioid would be 8.
Netroid is not 8.
Where is he at?
He is 5.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, he's 42 and 16 compared to SOT's 42 and 33.
No, I mean, I no discredit to Netrioid. I just assumed what SOT's doing out of solo would warrant for Netrioid had to play against the Gladiators. He was 3v1 and he dashed in, got a kill, and got out on Kern at like level 4 or something. I mean, just he really any normal person is saying, okay, let me turn around and leave instead
and
with that
walk
dash
the fuck away
and just get out here. And it would have ended the fight, but I think they ended up picking up like 2 more kills off that because he went in.
So you have Jake 1, Yarkor 2, Panatom 3, BMT 4, Netroid 5, SOT 6. Who you got for 7 through 9?
See, I don't even know where to even look here because Stuart is 10. And I would say
Stuart's been really good, man. He had a really bad week too, but he's been really good.
I just think, team wins would have a bit of an impact. And there, yeah, I would give him a top half.
Like I told you, he has the most damage per minute of any player in the league who isn't a mid laner or solo or troll. So he's doing more damage per minute than Yarkor and
any other carry.
Yeah. He's doing more damage per minute than Panatom, which is a little different because junglers aren't in a lane, but
right. Okay, so give me Veneno in these 3.
Veneno is not in the top 10.
Genetics
is 8.
Okay.
You got 7 and 9 left.
Okay, so I have
one of these is going to be a pleasant surprise to you, and I do not think you'll guess them.
It's going to be Paul.
It is not Paul.
Haddix?
It is Haddix.
That's what I have a big question mark right next to Haddix's name, man.
You still got 9.
Okay. And so, okay, is this player on the Hounds or the Kings, or is it on one of those 2 teams?
It is not on the Hounds or the Kings.
Neither of them?
It is on neither of those 2 teams.
Wow. Okay.
So it is not Coast or Twig?
No, I was thinking Oath or Quig. And then I was also thinking Captain Twig. And so looking now, the hell would it be? It can't be a support. I don't. I think if you're saying any support is better than Quig, between Quig and genetics, I think you're wrong.
Right.
Oh, it's Pagon.
It's Pagon.
It's Pagon, duh. Because you said you couldn't tell me. Oh,
Yeah.
I should have known that.
Yeah, all 5 of the Warriors are in the top 10, and frankly, all 5 of them deserve it.
It makes sense.
Yeah. Pagon is like the least deserving, and he is definitely the second best mid in the league, in my opinion. So
yeah, he's fallen off. I mean, not fallen off as in like doing bad, because he's consistently doing well, but they don't need him.
Yeah,
they can.
He is definitely like playing in a way where it's like, all right, I'm gonna make the calls and stay out of the way of these fucking ballers that are on my team.
Right.
And then I'll show up if we need a little bit of help.
More of a backup guy, I guess. Yeah. Huh. I am appalled adapting is not on this list.
Yeah. Adapting should definitely be there over Stewart, but I mean,
that's my only problem.
Yeah.
He has kept the Leviathans afloat to get to the point
pretty much single-handedly. But the thing is like, you can say, I mean, you can't really say the same thing about Stewart because Kierme's also there, but also, like, Leviathans have been doing better than the Glads, so he's just doing it better than Stewart, even if it was true.
Floating at this point. They have sunk. Which I guess they're starting to come back to the surface.
Yeah, I was going to say, they, like, sunk, and then, like, they beat the Kings, and they started unsinking.
Yeah, they're turning it around a little bit, but... Yeah, that's where my problem comes in at is yeah.
Yeah, no, adapting should probably be 10, and then Stewart should probably be 11.
Okay.
And then Kierme is probably 12. If he's not 11.
Kierme's got to be somewhere,
yeah.
Yeah. Where is adapting on that list? I guess I can look at it now that
it only goes to 10.
That we've done this. Oh, it stops.
He only has a list of 10, yeah. So I have no idea.
Okay. Well, also Shinto's coming back.
Yes.
Shinto will be back this week. I'm pretty sure. I'm not. Fine OK said it. Fine OK said he's traveling this week. Should be here by the weekend. Research Shinto himself said it as well.
Yeah, it's probably the person who is the most important to hear from. Is the person who it actually is.
Yeah. Yeah, so he should be back. Also, I'm looking at this list. Stewart is not number 10. Stewart's number 25.
What are you talking about, sir? on the analysis on her website, she has Stewart at 10. In her spreadsheet she had posted on Reddit, it's ordered differently.
Oh, okay.
I don't know why.
So what is...
I will try to remember to put the link to the blog in the description.
Yes. Yeah. Well,
because it's very good.
Yeah, I mean, it's always got good. She does power rankings every week.
She does interviews every once in a while as well.
Yeah, some good Smite Pro content there if you're interested. Moving on.
Yes.
On to our own power rankings, our predictions. Any specific way you want to do it this week?
I want to hear your power rankings first, because you've made me go first the past 2 weeks, and I'm really curious to see what you have.
Okay. All right. I actually have no idea, just because this week was crazy.
Yes, same. I have put together an order that I am okay with, but it can totally be just so incorrect.
I can knock out top 2. I'm going Warriors, number 1. Kings, 2.
All right, you got the easy ones. You got the free spaces.
I will say, I think the Kings take the Warriors this week. That's my prediction. Not, but as of right now,
Yes.
as of now, Warriors are above Kings. Um, I see. This is tough because I really think this coming week Leviathans are going to be a top 4, possibly number 3 team.
Right, but they haven't done it yet.
They haven't done it yet, and so man, I'm throwing Warriors, Kings, Ray. See, I hate to say Ravens because I feel like they should be lower, but then who's going to be higher than them?
Right.
The Hounds, but they haven't really. Did the Hounds beat the Ravens in regular season?
I believe the Ravens won, but I believe it was a 2-1 set.
Yes. Yep. Yeah. Ravens won 2-1. And they play again this week. Okay.
They kind of shit on the Hounds a little bit.
Ben
Even in the game the Hounds won, the Ravens had more kills.
So I have to put the Hounds above the Dragons. Or I have to put them above the Leviathans and the Ferrymen. And then the Dragons are also below that. So Hounds 4. Then we're going Ravens 3, Hounds 4. This is another, what are we looking like here? 2-0. I'm going Ferryman 5. I think
you don't even have the Levi's down yet, man.
I know. Well, it was between the Levi's and the Ferryman, man. I think coming up, the Leviathans are going to handle the Ferryman. I guess that's the first game on Friday, so we'll see. I think that'll be a good set. These two are very close, but as of right now, the Leviathans 2-1'd the Dragons, Ferryman 2-0'd. We're basing everything off of the Dragons, and so then give me Dragons 7. And despite the Kingslayers slaying the Kings, they are 8. Because, like I said, I don't think the Gladiators really won that.
I can't be too upset with those power rankings. The Ferryman, you keep putting the Ferryman so high.
And they're doing fine.
5, so high.
I think they're number 5. Okay, 5 or 6. I think from now on they're going to be a bottom 3 after this week.
I can understand why you would put them above the Levi's. I just disagree heavily.
At first, I feel like we're really clashing, and now, week 3? We're starting to get along. We're starting to find some common ground here.
Yeah, I hate how similar my power rankings are to yours. I'm going to be honest.
Okay.
They are a little different, but all right. So Warriors 1, Kings 2, obviously. Okay. I'm about to commit a dirty little crime. I have Hounds at 3.
That's understandable.
It feels like it shouldn't be. It feels like it should just be the Ravens. But my recency bias is like the Hounds have won 3 straight, and the Ravens lost 2 straight and got absolutely fucking dumpstered in those 2 games.
Yeah.
So my brain is just like, the Ravens looked so bad this past week, I cannot put them above the Hounds, who look really good. Even though the talent difference in the teams that are playing is insane. But I have Hounds 3, Ravens 4. I got Levi's 5, Ferryman 6.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was telling you, I was trying to decide between Dragons or Glads at 7.
Don't do it, man.
And I was gonna put the Glads there, and then I remembered that without Stewart, they have a negative 100 KD, and I was like, oh, I can't put him at 7. It would be illegal. I would go to jail. So I have Dragons at 7 and Glads at 8. As much as I wanted to put the Glads at 7, One, to hurt you physically, but also because like the Dragons just should be doing better. They should be
They
playing
should be.
better.
They really should. I mean, and even, I was talking about how the meta doesn't really fit PBM. In just blanket terms, that team skill wise should be beating most of these other teams in any meta. I feel like.
I'm gonna say something, and you're gonna hate me, and there's gonna be a lot
Okay.
of people who hate me, but it'll be fine because there'll be nobody else who hear it, and it'll just be you that hate me.
Okay.
PBM's teams, ever since he won the championship, have always underperformed their talent, and I have to wonder if it's due to his shot calling.
And that very well could be. I know a lot of it. I mean, PBM has pretty not the best around sieges and objectives. That's always been something they've struggled with his teams. And so yeah, is it because of him?
I can't help it because the Dragons, the past 2 years in the league, in my opinion, were clearly the most talented, and like they barely ever even managed to finish first in a split.
Yeah.
I don't even know if they did. You know what I mean?
The Dragons, the past, I'm trying to think back. Was it 7 or 8?
8 was the first year they would have been the Dragons.
Right. But I'm still looking at their team before.
Right.
It's been a while. I don't think, besides for like a couple weeks last year, right now you have the Kings Warriors are the top 2 teams. You are lucky to take a game off of them. It takes a lot, or a set off of them. The Warriors have been going a lot of 3 games, but the Dragons haven't been like that.
And they
PBM's Dragons, yeah.
Like, how do you have a team with a top 2 support, a probably top 1 carry, but if not, then top 2, probably top 1 solo, a top half mid, and a top half jungle? Like, no other team, like, other than the Kings last year, none of the other teams in the league looked that good on paper. Right. And the Kings lived up to expectations and won the championship, and the Dragons just sort of, like, were middling for most of the year.
Yeah. And it makes you wonder, is it the shot calling that is causing this,
And the defensive PBM shot calling, I will say this team is nowhere near as good as last year's Dragons.
Yeah.
But
yeah. Has a downgrade, and then it's also harder to, this is the first time he's teamed with any of these guys before.
Right.
So I'm sure there's some growing pains as well. But still, they're underperforming heavily. And you know what? It is just 1 week.
I mean, it's also like kind of what this Warriors team did a lot in the past as well. I feel like there'd be stretches where they weren't very good, so much so they ended up having to play into Season 9, and then they'll have stretch splits where they're like number 2 in the league.
Yeah,
which with the new support and jungle could be a number 1 in the league, but probably not with their competition. I don't really see them ending up above both the Kings and the Warriors for an entire split, to be honest.
Yeah, that seems pretty unrealistic. But this can't be. Yeah. Hopefully they pick it up. I mean, I think they will. They're just having a rough time. You got 3 phases of the year. This phase has honestly gone so fast, though.
Yeah, I mean, it's shorter.
Right, they're all shorter. So,
I mean, we still got 2 more weeks, I think, don't we?
Yeah, we're only halfway.
We're past halfway, yeah.
Right, you know what I meant. 2.5, call it 3.
No, it's literally just 3. It's not 2.5, call it 3. It's literally just 3.
Well, 2.5 is half of 5. You know what I mean.
Or more than halfway, so it doesn't matter with the halfway.
Okay, but points. Like 7 plus 3 is 10. -1 is 9. So you get what I'm saying. But okay,
Anyways, I have the Leviathans against the Ferrymen.
yeah. Okay, yeah, I'm taking. I want to be. Yeah, I gotta take the Leviathans. I think this could be a 2-1 set.
2-0.
Paul's been looking nasty. He can run a game if you don't watch out for him. I get how well they can put pressure on mid lane. Their junglers can. It's gonna be a battle of the junglers, and when you say that, talking about the ferryman, not good. You're not looking good.
Talking about the Leviathans, very good.
Yeah, I would consider. I think Adapting is the best jungler in the league right now.
He's up there.
Yeah, maybe Panatom and Twig as well, but yeah, Adapting nuts. Ravens Glads. Don't. Or you think you can't be thinking that hard about this, right?
I really want to pick the upset here.
I can see the Ravens being like so thrown off from this last week. They just don't know how to turn it around. But I'm going Ravens too.
Yeah. I gotta stick with my principles of the Ravens always beat the teams worse than them and lose to the teams better than them. So they're definitely better in the Glads. So I think I gotta pick the Ravens.
Any team, if upsets happen, Kings, Gladiators, no one's predicting that. If anyone predicts the Gladiators to legitimately beat the Kings, you're trolling.
Yeah.
And I think it's that way with any team. You're trolling. Personal opinion.
Yeah.
Oh, but wait till Sunday. We'll talk about that again on Sunday. Dragons, Hounds.
Hounds 2-1.
Yep. Hounds 2-1. I like that. I don't think Coast isn't going to be back. Quig's not going to be here.
It hasn't mattered as much as it mattered for Shinto.
Right. No.
Coast has looked like a top carry on ping, while Shinto's looked incredibly average.
Even the ping difference is massive as well between Shinto and everyone else.
I mean it's about the same distance, but the internet is better in Europe than it is in South America.
I guess I don't know distances like that then. I don't know where Shinto's from even. It's like Uruguay, Paraguay, maybe.
Yeah, I think it's Uruguay.
So somewhere far.
Yes.
Yeah.
But like I said, the UK is almost just as far, but the internet connection is just better in general.
Better. Yeah. Quig's just in Canada. It doesn't matter. It's basically on the same server anyway. I can.
Assuming he's in southern Canada where there are actually people, and not in northern Canada.
Right.
If he's in northern Canada, then it's actually one far away, and two.
How do you even hear about Smite?
Yeah.
At that point, that's worse than like the Amazon. I want to say Dragons, but I'm gonna go with Hounds. Hounds 2-0.
Wow.
Give me Hounds.
You really don't think the Dragons are gonna bounce back, huh?
I want to pick the Dragons.
I mean, I do too. I have two players in fantasy.
Yeah, I just don't think they're gonna perform after.
And by two of their players, I mean one of their players and their coach.
Yes. Yeah. Warriors, Levi's. Does Shinto help them create an upset? I'm saying
Leviathans.
I'm taking Leviathans here.
I called it at the beginning, and I'm sticking to my guns.
2-1 Leviathans?
2-1 Leviathans.
I hope, in looking, is his gameplay that much affected by ping to the point where they can upset this team? I don't know.
I think they match up pretty well against the Warriors.
I agree. I think Adapting is one of the smartest players to ever play the game, and he's still sharp,
Yeah.
He's still on point. Fine, okay, obviously matches up really well. And I think just the morale boost of having everyone back can be enough to put this team over the edge.
Warriors might get a little complacent as well.
Yes.
How well they've been doing.
Yep. That will be their first game of the week as well. So
I thought you were going to say it would be their first loss as a team, which would be true.
Yes, that too. So, do we have Warrior Slayers? We'll find out. Kings Ferryman.
Kings 2-0.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I hope. I don't see that going any other way. They just get outpaced. That team has the ability to realize that there's about one player they need to pay attention to. So you'll take him. The highlight of the week, Sunday, first game, Warriors Kings.
Who you got in this one?
I got Kings.
How many games? 3?
Give me Kings 2-0.
Give me Warriors 2-0.
Yep. I think it's going to be one of the two.
Yeah, they're going to come out of the Leviathans game pissed.
And they're going to turn it on. I can see that, man. That might actually kill me here. This game decides, by the way, our fantasy, who will be in first place. I'm telling you right now.
You and Amy? Probably.
Between me and Amy. If Warriors win, she's ahead. If Kings win, I'm ahead. So that's the boys got.
Here's the thing: if Kings win, she might still be ahead because of Yarkor.
That's true. Well, I'm gonna act like that's not the case. I'm just gonna pretend that won't happen.
You need Netroid to diff Yarkor and for it to not matter. That's what you need.
Well, and the Kings are the team that kicked Netroid to replace him with Yarkor. Does he have a little grudge? I think he got that out of the way in the or the kickoff tournament. But
probably.
Hopefully, I don't know. That's gonna be a fun one though.
For sure.
I'm definitely waking up for that. Okay, this is what I was talking about. See you Sunday. You're set. Our 7 and 8. Dragons Gladiators. Head to head. Who's taking this?
Which one of us wants to be safe and which one of us wants to have fun? That's the question. I'm going to have some fun. I'm taking Glads 2-0.
2-0?
2-0, baby. I'm having fun. Wow. I'm having a blast.
He's having a great time here. You're insane. I'll just leave it at that.
No. Like I said, I'm picking it to have fun.
Yeah. I mean, good upset. I think it's one that could totally happen. If we see last week's Jade Dragons.
Yeah.
Which I don't think is going to totally happen. But I did say it. If you pick in the Gladiators in any set right now, you're trolling. Give me Dragons. 2.
You can say 2-0. I won't be hurt.
2-1. I know, but I think I don't think they're going to play as bad as last week. I think that might be a low for them. I think it's only up, hopefully.
You know what? I think I changed my mind. Because the Gladiators' the Dragons' big weakness, as we were talking about, is their inability to siege quickly, and the Gladiators are really good at losing really fast.
Yeah.
So, you know what? Give me Dragons. I changed my mind.
Yeah, a good matchup for the Dragons.
Give me overall. Dragons 2-1.
2-1?
They'll go 3. Why not?
Yeah. More Smite, the better.
I don't know, man.
That's more points for you, man.
The Glads really hate playing Smite. They played less of it than anybody else. So maybe it won't be, but I'll still guess 3.
Yeah, I mean, even the games the Glads are winning, they're going like 25 minutes, which I guess was 2 of them.
Yes.
So... Yeah, very short games. I think the average right now is 30 something, 30, 35. That's a long time, man. Some of these games are. It took me. So I was busy all weekend, so I couldn't watch any of the games. And it took me from Monday. I just finished the Warriors Gladiators game at 8 o'clock before we started at 8:30 for context.
Is that why you
Took
pushed
a
it
long
back half
time.
an hour?
Now, I was making tacos too.
Ah, okay.
And I knew every other time that I've said I'll be ready by 8, I'm finishing cleaning up dinner at like 8:15, and I'm like, I'm gonna need just a couple minutes.
Yeah.
So we playing her good this time. Hounds Ravens.
I'm sticking with my thing with the Ravens. I got Ravens 2-1. Hounds will get a game. The Ravens are still a better team. So Ravens.
Yeah, I think I would normally give this Ravens 2-0, but the Hounds were not on a hot streak. The first time they match up, and the Hounds took a game.
If we are right about their game early in the week, the Hounds will be on a 4-set win streak by the time they run into the Ravens.
Yes, they are red hot. They will be red hot. So, yeah,
But I don't think it'll be enough to
dangerous for the Ravens. The 3-4, this could determine, your number 3 right here.
Yeah.
Important game. I'm still picking the Ravens.
You know what? If I'm about to say something fucking blasphemous. If the Hounds beat the Ravens and the Dragons, and the Kings choke against the Ferrymen and lose to the Warriors, the Hounds are my 2.
No, I can see it. I can see it. One thing I noticed.
The Kings would be what? 5-3, and the Hounds would be 5-3, so they'd have the same record. And the Hounds would have won 5 straight.
How would the Kings be 5 and the Kings would have only lost 2 at that point?
If they lose to the Ferrymen and Warriors.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, they play Hounds. Hounds Kings play on Saturday next week, so that could take it right there. This could lead up for a fight for second.
Yeah.
Between those two.
Crazy.
Oh, and then Ravens and Kings also play on Sunday. So these last couple Kings games matter.
Yes.
If they want a top 2
especially
spot.
the Warriors one.
Yeah, I mean, yeah,
if the
that
Warriors
one matters.
win both their games this week, they're pretty much guaranteed first place.
They're locked. Yeah. I mean,
I'm assuming they do head-to-head as the tiebreaker, and if they do, then they would be guaranteed if they won both games.
Yeah. I mean, Warriors have Glads next week, so that's a pretty free.
And Dragons.
Good thing. And Dragons. So yeah, I would say not as much pressure to win out for the Warriors. But still, I mean, you still want to take that one spot.
Yeah. I mean, it would be... I'm sure they think it'd be so cool to go undefeated, so...
Oh, yeah, for sure.
There's definitely some pressure there.
One thing I will say about the Hounds Ravens is if the Hounds can do what the Warriors and the Kings did to the Ravens, Barracuda in the first 2 weeks was being left alone in lane. They were allowing him to farm up and hit the late game carry 2 crits and you're dead.
Right.
That's
not as much of a thing anymore after the nerf, although crit is still very good.
The Kings and the Warriors camped the shit out of him, if I'm remembering correctly. I mean, he was getting...
Especially the Kings a little bit more so than the Ravens, or than the Warriors, it looks like, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he was just getting... They weren't allowing him to get to that point, and if he was getting there very late, very behind. So, if that's... I think he's their weakest link, and allowing him to not put any pressure on that link, and I mean it's going to be fine. But putting pressure on it, he's been breaking.
If the Ravens had Stu instead of Barracuda, it would be a top 3 instead of a top 2. If you know what I mean. I still think they'd be third, but they'd be like way more in that conversation than they are right now.
Right. Also, I will say though, Scream kind of played really bad this week.
Yeah,
I
Scream's
think you could have
really up and down though.
You could put Prime Panda Cat in that spot, and I don't know if it would have made an entirely
Right. I
huge
still think they
difference.
would have lost both those games, but I think they would have beat the Dragons, and I think they'd be more so in that conversation of it being
Yeah, yeah, I agree. So,
Dude, this is so good. I love Stu.
what I can tell, man,
He's on my fantasy team,
he's
so I have to love him.
you have to like him.
I didn't even
But
pick him;
still,
he
you've
was given to
always,
me.
even before, you've kind of
Yeah,
been a
just because
Stu
he's
guy.
good.
He
Like I
is.
just look at his numbers and I'm like, hey, those are good numbers.
He is an SPL player for a reason.
Yes.
Yeah, and
Although
honestly, I will
I
say
do.
I was hating on him a bit at first, but I mean, he's given nothing but results. If that's the, I mean,
Right.
he has the stats to show that he's doing shit.
Yeah, and he has the stats to show he's been doing shit on the shitty ass Scarabs and the shitty ass Glads.
Yeah.
Like, arguably, his worst performance was when he was on the Titans for the playoffs. That's when he's looked his worst, and that was when the team was actually good.
Mm.
He still looked good on the Titans. I just think he's looked better on the Scarabs and the Gladiators than he did on the Titans,
Let me
which is
find something
wild.
for you real quick. I've got a little question, little quiz,
Okay. Oh
if you
no.
will. Okay. It's a tweet that um Gormizer, he tweets a bunch of stats. Okay. With 150 games at least played in the SPL, what do you think the lowest win rate is on a singular person?
Is it somebody who's in the league now, or is it going to be somebody
They
who
were
I don't fucking know?
they were in the league last year. But what percentage do you think it is?
What percentage? Oh,
We'll
like
start with that.
20%.
Very close. Okay, 25. It was Wowie from the Valkyries last year. Their ADC.
He's the carry for the whatever the fuck the Warps
Yes.
became, right?
Yep. Yeah, they picked him back up. Imagine playing that many games and just losing all the time. That would suck.
Yeah.
That could not be fun, man. Like you're expected to lose 75% of the time. Crazy. Also the most winning, 178 games, 75% win rate. Impressive, I think.
Who could it be?
It's Demi.
Oh, so not somebody I would know of.
No one you would know. Also, fun fact: Cyclone has played 83 unique gods in the SPL. 83
That's
out of
fucking all of
130.
them.
And 15 of them have a 75% win rate, at least.
Man, he's really fallen off.
50 of them have a 50% win rate, at least. I don't think I know you're not liking what you're seeing. I don't think he's doing awful this year.
I agree. I don't think he's like great though.
Yeah,
Those numbers,
I
like the
agree.
numbers you just told me, are the numbers of a player who was great. He is not
Yeah,
great anymore.
he's getting old, I guess. Well, I mean, I think he's been in the league for forever. Um, I'm trying to find.
He's been in the league since season one, according to my
Has he really?
website. Yeah, he played on Fat Chunks of Symbol
What?
season one. That's what the team name is, man.
I believe you.
Then season two he was on AFK Gaming. Season three he was on Team Envious. Season four he was on Team Allegiance. And then he switched to Carry and went to Splice for 2 years. Then he was on
uh,
Radiance. Then he's been on the Titans / Ferryman since.
yeah. So was Well, he started out. He started out carry. It said that's what it's telling me. I don't know if that's true or not. But he looked better. Oh, Barracuda back in his prime, man. Okay. So you were telling me you had like a secret you didn't want to, like a secret
It's not really
topic.
a secret. I just didn't want to give it away. I wanted to talk
Right.
about it on the podcast.
Yeah, it just so this is completely new for me anyway.
Yes.
I haven't heard anything that is about to come out of this guy's mouth.
Yes. So the problem with Smite for a while, right, has been what their ability to balance items, right?
Yes. Balance in general.
Yes. And I have somewhat come up with an idea that I think could help them with balancing that would freshen up the game quite a bit.
Okay.
And it has sort of been divided into like 3 side topics. And I'm going to split it up into... Okay, I'm going to do it in the order of the one that I think would be like least good to like most good, if you know what I mean.
Okay. Yes, worst to best.
Yes. So the first, and like all of these could be integrated like together, or they could just be integrated separately as well. Like the ideas originally, like it all was like coming out of my brain, like in one glob. And then I was
That's
like, okay,
not
well,
good.
this could be its own thing, and this could be its own thing, sort of deal. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So
hit me.
first
So we're
off,
starting with the least of what you think would be the least effective.
yes, well, not only would it be the least effective, I kind of don't want them to do it. Definitely not individually, but also it was just sort of like an idea that I came up with, and I was like, this is pretty cool. They could do this. So you get rid of the difference between magical damage and physical damage, right?
Okay.
Now, obviously, this would take a huge rebalancing for all items. And instead, what you have is like regular damage, and then you have what I'm calling elemental damage. And that would be effectively what yellow numbers are now, right?
Okay.
So basically like the tick damage stuff like Kins and Crusher and that sort of thing. And you have it so that you can build elemental damage or like regular damage, and then you have to build like how you have to build physical or magical protections now. You'd have to build protections for regular damage or for elemental damage or some of both.
Okay.
So basically, it's sort of like reworking physical and magical damage, but anybody can build either,
anything,
and they work a little different. Like I said, this is the worst one, the one I'm least excited for.
Right. Right. I mean, I like the idea of that gives a lot of build variety if everyone can build. If you don't go into a game and you see 4 physicals and it's like, okay, I start stacking a sovereignty right now, start stacking the physical defense. Because, I mean, there's more counterplay to that.
Right.
I would imagine. But I have no idea how you'd even begin balancing.
Right. This, especially by itself, wouldn't help them balance it. This more helps with balancing, like as we get further down the list. Because, like I said, this all started as one big idea, and I've sort of separated off certain parts and talk about them individually. Because it's a little bit easier. All right.
So I do want to say this real quick. I've talked to Robbie about it, about the balancing, and he plays League, and he says that Smite balancing is infinitely better than League's.
Oh, I believe
and so
it.
I think there are problems that need to be fixed and can be fixed, but it could be worse.
For sure.
It could be worse. The Smite balance team and the high res people get a lot of hate, but I appreciate what they're doing.
Right. No, I know for a while in Dota ability draft, there was if you were playing the character that didn't have a certain ability, it was like a astral summon or whatever. So you could
Yeah.
summon a creature, and if you uh, died and you weren't like the character that was supposed to have it, and you died while it was out, you could try to recall it, but you would never be able to successfully recall it. So you could spam it forever. And then there was another ability that whenever you casted an ability, the enemy would lose 10% of their current health. So what you would do is you would take that, you would die, and then you would cast Recall forever, which would never successfully work, and do infinity damage, and just get everybody to one like as fast as you could push the button like 15 times. Everybody would be one on the enemy team.
Nice.
So yeah, compared to that, Smite is like hella balanced.
It's pretty balanced. Yeah. Definitely always interested in ideas and stuff like that, though.
Yes. All right. So the next one,
Too.
the next idea I got here is a combination of it would help with balance, but it would also help make it easier for a new player to get into the game because this mechanic. I mean, to me, I still don't really understand exactly how it works, right? So, John, can you explain to me how protections work?
How protections work?
Yes. How does the amount of protections you have determine how much less damage you take?
How much less damage you take?
Yes.
So there's like the base number comes in of whatever that damage should do, flat, and then it takes your protections. It subtracts the flat pen, and then does the percent pen based on that number, and then I believe I would say most items after that are taken off of there. After the percent pen is reduced, but if it's like a flat pen, there's some specific weird things that are different, but
right, but like ignoring pin, like
yes,
how much does like 80 protections
no
take
idea.
off? Yeah, exactly.
No
It's nobody understands. Like
I knew you were
I've seen the formula. I could probably find it. I'm not going to memorize it because it's
right.
impossible.
Let me
Why
see if I
does
can
it need to
find
be
it
so
while you're there.
complicated? Here's what I think they should do instead. You take what protections are right now. You take this stupid thing nobody understands and you throw it out a window. And then what you do is you take mitigations and you make them protections effectively. But obviously, pin would now work on mitigations. So you could have like that's a very easy number to understand how much less damage you would be taking, right?
Okay.
So it's like, if you built an item with, I mean, there probably wouldn't be an item with 30% mitigations, but you know what I mean. If you had 30% mitigations, you're taking 30% less damage. That's really easy to understand. But now pin now works on it, so it's not like super fucking overpowered like it is now.
Yeah. Okay. So I found it. It's whatever your damage. So say you do 100 damage with an ability, and you multiply that by your protections plus 100, or 100 divided by your protections plus 100, and then multiply that by your starting damage.
I still
And so,
am not really sure, even if
so
you just explained it to me.
if your ability does 500 damage into someone with a 325 protection, okay, of that type, so that's 100 divided by 425, and that's 0.235, and then multiply that by that 500 damage you do. So you only do 117 damage.
Right.
So, yeah.
Anyway, the point is that's overly complicated if you just make protections work like mitigations, and then make pin work on mitigations, and then you balance it out so that it
Yeah,
actually
just like so
balance.
completely like ditch mitigations, or the fact that mitigations can't be are like true full
Right. Well,
mitigated.
because whenever mitigations are really good, that's what makes tanks overpowered, right? So
Yeah.
if pin works on them, it's not going to be overpowered anymore.
Right.
And also, I feel like this combined with the final idea would help make health more prevalent. Words are hard because health is not a good stat to build. Like it's nice to have, but like you can't build a build based around
Yeah.
health like you can around like protections.
Right. And I
I
mean,
think it'd be
most
cool if you could do
anyways,
that, but you can't really.
yeah, you're getting high. You get a lot of health from the items that you're building with protections anyway.
Right.
And if there are items that are mostly health with other stats, like
They don't get built.
yeah, and that it's for a reason,
Gaia, Mail
Exactly.
Renewal. Mail Renewal, when it had 30 of each protection and 250 health, was getting built. They changed it to 350 health and like 15 of each protection, and I haven't seen it since.
Yeah. Actually, Inbound played it. It's the used it against the Warriors, I think,
Well, I would explain why they didn't win.
in the Sean. Well, honestly, though, Mail of Renewal is like it's one of
He
those
played
good
it against the
first
Kings,
the
and the
Kings.
only
Okay.
game they lost at that set.
Yes. Okay. That completely. Yeah, there's just better items to build first instead of that. And if you're not building it first, you shouldn't be building it, I don't think.
Right.
Or you should probably not that, but you can build there's just better items. So
Right.
because they have protections and are useful.
Yeah.
Okay. And that leads into your number 3?
My third idea. We're talking about a full item rework from the top down.
Okay.
Okay. And
How?
so you make it, you change it like completely how items work so that every item has a primary stat and a secondary stat and a passive and nothing else. Nothing gets a third stat.
Okay.
Don't care
So
what it
things are
is.
pretty rigid.
Yes. But also your primary stat and your secondary stat can be the same. And the primary stat for each item for each like thing, like every stat or every item that has power as its primary stat has the same amount of power, right? So, for example, every item that had power as its primary stat would have 50 power. And then if the secondary stat's also power and the secondary power is 25, then the item would have 75 power and no other stats. So it would have the passive.
Mm.
And then you have passive that matches what that item is trying to do for you, right?
Right.
So the item that is power plus power, you want a power synergy, so maybe that'd be what you put the crusher passive on, right? And then like for uh, attack speed first, power second, or power second, attack speed first, either one, that's where you have like Silver Branch passive.
Okay, here's my question. On items like Jotuns, where they don't have a passive just because of their stats, could that be like, instead of having a passive, could I have a triple, a 3 stat?
So I've been
Or
thinking
would just
about
anything
this.
without passives
The
get removed?
way I've been like thinking about it is that like there could be passives that basically give you like a third stat, like in an aura or whatever, like some of them have now. Like how Rod of
Mhm.
Ass Clap gives like a cooldown aura. Or like I was thinking for like primary first, auto attack second. I've thought about getting rid of crit because crit doesn't really do what carries are supposed to do. Carries are supposed to shred tanks, and
Yeah.
crit is what you build if you're a carry who doesn't want to
Worth.
shred tanks,
Right.
which doesn't make sense because that's your job. So I was thinking about getting rid of crit, and also like crit is just it's bad for game balance in my opinion as well. But like maybe you have it so that like power first, attack speed second is like it has like a 20% crit passive, but that's the only way you can get crit. Right? So you can get like up to 20% crit, but you can't get more than that or something like that.
Yeah, some sort of cap on it.
Yeah, and part of this idea I've been coming up with is like a lore reason for it, right? So I'm thinking like maybe the lore for it is you have some big bad for the lore or whatever who will be the new god comes in
Mhm.
and like somehow causes all the items to be broken. So th- well, then you can have like items where it's like you have an item that's like uh power first, mana second, and it's the part of the transcendence passive where it's however much mana you have, you get more power, and you call that like head of transcendence or something. And then you have one that's like mana first, mana second, or realistically, they're probably not going to have an item
Cooldown.
that's just mana. So it'd be like cooldown first, mana second. That is uh like mana stacking part of the passive, right? And it's called like the handle of transcendence. So like individually they wouldn't be as good, but then like you build them both and it's like really good. And that
They
because I mean it's like
complement each other.
150 power, which with the new way I'm doing items, like you get like 75 at most from anything else, you know?
Right. I that's my only problem is I feel like that would make a lot of items obsolete because yeah, who's gonna buy a mana cooldown
Right. Well,
item?
that's what I'm saying. There's probably
You know?
some stats that don't need a primary like a category where they're the primary thing. Like mana,
Right.
you probably don't need a mana and a mana cooldown any of that. Mana can just be solely used as a
A
secondary stat.
secondary. Yeah. Eh, I think as well it makes. I mean, you're gonna do a lot less on any character no matter what you build because you have all this attack speed and movement speed on these random items with a lot of power and
Right.
plus these passives. And so you're just going to be doing everyone will be doing less. And
Right. But
I think that could
the idea
get
behind this is
boring.
also you make the defense less. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right.
Like it's one of those
Not,
things where
like,
it's like I think
not
to
not
get
doing
this
less as
balanced
in
originally,
damage.
like to get this balanced at the start of the new change is going to be very hard. I think once it's balanced, it's going to be really easy to keep it there. Because
Yeah.
like if you are locked into what stats have to be on items and you can only have two stats on an item, then the only thing you have to figure out how to balance on an item is the passive.
Yeah. Well, that and that's true.
Because I mean,
Uh,
like if you're
I'm not
changing how
saying
much power is in the primary stat, you have to change that for every item with power in the primary stat with
right.
this system.
Okay, so it'd be like a set for each. If it's the
Yes,
primary power, then it's 50 for every single one.
right.
Okay,
And
but yeah,
then this would
I'm
also lead to items where, like, I think this could lead to some more build variety because I'm thinking about like there's going to be items where it's like attack speed and then the secondary stat isn't power, right? But maybe you can
mhm.
make it so that like all those items have a bunch of yellow numbers attached to them. So even though your power is literally zero, you can still output damage because of your yellow numbers.
Like an Odibo.
Yeah, like an Odibo, or like you could have new ones, which this is kind of where like the elemental effects one came in when I was designing it originally. You have
Mhm.
like the attack speed penetration one is like a fire element or something, and it like burns them for 3 seconds or something for the passive.
Mm. Yeah, well, I wasn't saying, I said they won't do as much, not as in damage, but like anyone. And like you're saying, it gives more build diversity, but don't you have, like, you're getting more stats in total it is now than you would be then. And so people just in general, you're not going to be as tanky, you're not going to have as much health, you're not going to have as much protections, but you're also not going to have as much power or cooldown or everything. And so everything dies down a lot, which kind of counteracts the um, slow scaling that all the items and characters, the power creep. But then people are just gonna get bored of that. If we're jumping from something with all this to something like that, and then Smite's not a game where you can afford to lose a chunk of your player base all at once.
That's true. Oh, like I'm sure there are definitely many problems with that. This I haven't thought of. Right?
Right.
It's just sort of an idea that I've
Just something,
formed.
some start to a change.
Right. And maybe it's one of those things where it's like you do it once and you bring everything back to this. Like maybe this is a thing where it's like they can do this once every like 3 or 4 years to get to counteract all the like power creep and stuff. You bring everything back down to like a base level, and then you can keep adding stuff
Yeah.
and power
Well,
creeping the
from there.
items, and then another 5 years from now they go, okay, we're gonna reset it.
Right, and something like that would keep it. It would feel more fresh than like bad.
Right.
Yeah.
And maybe this is a sort of thing where it's like they only do it for like uh, one of these 3 month seasons they're doing, right? Like the lore idea I came up with, like some guy comes in and it causes all the items to break, so you have all this weird stuff, and then the lore is like, and then the next god is a crafter and came in and fixed them.
And repairs everything.
Yeah. I just thought it was an interesting idea because I've been thinking about power creep a lot recently because the power creep is getting pretty bad.
Yeah.
And the item rework thing I was thinking was the first part of it I thought of, and then like the other ideas spun off of that, and that is like the most direct way to address power creep is to just break everything.
Yeah. And that overhaul, shout out to whoever has to deal with that.
Probably no one. They're not gonna do this. Let's be real.
That would be incredibly hard.
Yes.
To do.
The more I've thought of this and the more ideas I've come up with, it honestly more sounds like a brand new game than like a change to Smite. You know what I mean?
Right. At that point, is it the same game? Yes. I would say yes.
Yeah. Maybe I'll find some people who know how to do game making and I'll make this game with them.
Do it. Make a video game. Doesn't Philip know how? Philip's making a game right now, isn't he?
Yeah, probably.
He's a smart guy. He can figure it out.
Yeah.
Hello.
I mean, one thing I know for sure is whether this is a new update for Smite, my idea, or if it's a whole brand new game, you're still gonna have to Gank Right Lane.
Gank Right Lane.